The U.S. economy and the real estate market is a ticking time bomb, and if you think I'm being overdramatic, watch this.
Nationwide, we have the worst affordability since 1984. It's 99% of the United States being unaffordable for the average American making $71,000 a year.
As the typical monthly P&I payment has risen 94%. Oh my God.
90. That's bananas.
Has people's income increased 94%?
It's going, what do you mean?
That's no. The P&I payments increased 94 in 2 years, now amounting to roughly 41% of the typical household's income.
This is the reality that millions of people are facing right now, and I'm going to break down even more shocking details for you coming up. Stay tuned. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the U.S. economy, the U.S. real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to the Las Vegas area, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. All right, so I want to start with this first graphic because if you ever wanted to see a ticking time bomb, this is it. Take a look at this. This is the live U.S. national debt clock, and I want you to focus your attention right up here in the upper left side where it says over $34 trillion in U.S. national debt. And just so you guys see that clock moving at live speed, that clock is moving at $2 million per minute. So every 30 seconds, our national debt is going up $1 million. This is the scary and stunning situation that a lot of people just really don't pay attention to, and there are going to be consequences at some point because this debt moving at this kind of speed, ultimately there will be consequences. But I just wanted to show you guys this because the ticking time bomb of the entire economy is this U.S. national debt. All right, so speaking of the massive U.S. debt crisis, take a look at this article headline that just came out the other day. America's debt time bomb. Missed credit card payments are up in 49 of 50 states as grim study shows where inflation and high interest rates have wreaked most havoc. Now, this is the real elephant in the room that a lot of people are not talking about. In the previous segment, I showed you guys that the United States is over $34 trillion in debt, and that debt is growing by over $2 million per minute. Now, out of that $34 trillion, over $1 trillion of those dollars is in credit card debt alone. And you can see in this headline that basically every state in the country is showing a lot of people missing payments on credit cards, delinquencies are going up, bankruptcy filings are going up, and the reason I'm bringing this to your attention is for one simple reason. We have a massive debt crisis in this country, and ultimately, in my opinion, this house of cards is going to collapse, and it's going to potentially lead us right into a recession. All right, so now I want to drill down more specifically into the overall real estate market. I want you guys to watch this short video clip talking about the problems that are potentially coming with commercial real estate and how that could have a massive impact on residential real estate. Take a look at this, and then I'm going to come back on the other side and comment on it.
When you walk around downtowns in America right now, they are empty. In particular, these office buildings downtown, workers have not come back to the office yet. Office occupancies are still 50% below pandemic levels, and that's now causing a big issue in the economy because it's causing lots of defaults on commercial mortgage-backed securities. The owners of these office buildings are going into default, giving the buildings back to the landlords, and there's nearly $3 trillion in commercial mortgage-backed security debt that's owned by banks, and that debt is now going bad. And it's not only office buildings, it's also retail strip centers where the default rate's over 10%, it's hotels where there's a very high default rate. In 2023, what this means for you, you're going to see more of these banks cut back the lending, which is going to cause job losses and the recession to get worse. The people who are thinking that this recovery we're seeing in stocks and housing is legit, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not paying attention to this CMBS crisis that's hitting America's downtowns, it's hitting the commercial property market, and it's going to cause the banks to trigger a crisis.
Now, here's why I think that video is very important for the residential real estate market, and ultimately why I think home prices are going to come down later this year and into 2025 especially. A lot of these smaller and mid-sized banks that provide financing and mortgages to home buyers also happen to be very big investors in this commercial real estate. And in 2025, a lot of that commercial real estate has to be refinanced at a higher rate, that's potentially going to cause very big problems throughout the entire economy because there could be more bank failures, job layoffs, and lending requirements are going to get even tighter, which means less people are going to be able to qualify, which ultimately means more homes are going to hit the market because less buyers can get into the market, and that is going to drive prices down. All right, so now I want to show you guys this chart. This is the home price to median household income ratio chart. Now, the way I have this laid out goes back about 35 years. I'm going to zoom into two very specific parts of this chart so that you could see it more clearly, because this is very telling about the residential real estate market and what's potentially on the horizon. So let's dig into this chart a little bit deeper. All right, so take a look at that top peak part of the blue chart right at the top there. That was in 2006 at the peak of the real estate bubble. Now that small box right there just at the top says home price median household income ratio 6.82. So what that basically means was home prices were about 7 times that of the average income. Now here's where it changes a little bit. As we see the blue chart start to drop down and we see it start to come down, this is where the housing bubble started to collapse. And then when we go all the way right down there, just next to my picture, the home price to median household income ratio dropped all the way down to 4.72. That was in 2012. So it took 6 years from the peak of the real estate bubble to hit the bottom. That's what I wanted to show you guys first in this chart, and then I want to show you where we are right now currently. So there's a reason why I'm showing you guys this chart and why I ultimately think home prices are going to drop. The last time home price to median income ratios were at this much of a disparity was all the way back in 2006 over here at the last housing bubble, and then the market just completely dropped off, but it did take 6 years for the real estate down cycle to play out. So again, historically speaking, real estate down cycles do not happen overnight. They take several years for prices to bottom out. Here's why that's important. If we go all the way over here to the top right, we're at the largest disparity ever now between home price to median income ratio. So again, it's fair to assume, even though we haven't seen any meaningful correction or crash, historically speaking, the real estate down cycle that we should experience is going to take a while for prices to bottom out. So again, it's very difficult to find the bottom of a real estate cycle, but it's fair to assume that at this level, the only way I think prices are going to be moving is downward. All right, so if you guys follow my channel, you know that I usually go to the popular real estate website Zillow near the end of each of my videos just to show you here in the Las Vegas area where I happen to be located, a lot of different pricing discrepancies. I start in the luxury category and then I work down by showing you guys a few different examples coming down closer to the average price point. So let's start right now with a luxury home right here in the Las Vegas area. All right, so this first example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area is a luxury home. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at $3 million. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath home, 4,362 square feet. Now, again, I know a lot of people obviously can't afford a multi-million-dollar home, but more importantly, I want to show you down in the price chart history, again, pricing discrepancy that does not make sense on popular real estate websites like Zillow, just to show you the kinds of discrepancies that are happening and things you need to watch out for. So let's take a look at the price history right now. All right, so let's look at the price history here down on the bottom left where I highlighted this in blue. On 4/29/2022, this home sold for $1,660,000. We take a look just above it, 11/9/2023, that's about a year and a half or so later, they listed this home for $3 million. Now focus your attention right here in the middle of the screen, right where you see that small green chart. You can see just next to that small cursor arrow right there in the middle there that I have, it says listed for sale $3 million on 11/8/2023. But if we look just here, just a couple of months before this green flat line right here, this means the home price was holding steady at a valuation of about $1.5 million for several months before that listing date. And then when they listed it for $3 million. But more importantly, this is where Zillow's algorithm doesn't make any sense, because if you take a look up here in the upper left side, it says Zestimate. That's the way Zillow currently estimates the market value of this home. They basically have the valuation at $3 million. So if we go backwards for just a second, a few months before, this home was valued at about $1.5 to $1.6 million. And then the home builders, they listed it for $3 million, and Zillow automatically raised the valuation to $3 million, which makes absolutely no sense. So these are the kinds of things that you guys really need to watch out for. And this is the kind of madness going on in the real estate market, where a home is valued at $1.5 million, and then all of a sudden, a month later, it's valued at $3 million. That never happens. It's never happened in the history of real estate. Even if Zillow's algorithm is saying that this is the Zestimate, you still need a real estate agent to run the comps. You need an appraisal to find true value, and you need to be careful when you go on websites like this. A lot of times we are not seeing true value in these kinds of homes. All right, so now let's take a look at this second example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Still fairly expensive, just over $1 million as the list price that you can see on the left side of the screen. This is an 8-bedroom, 6-bath, nearly 6,000 square foot home. But in this example, I want to show you the massive price reduction that's been going on since this home has been listed. Let's look at the price history chart down below. All right, so let's look at the price chart history down here on the bottom left where I highlighted this in blue. This date right here in the bottom left, if you can't read that, it says 5/20/2022. That was the peak of the real estate market about 20 months ago. If you see the listed sale price here on the right side, it says $1.85 million. They've not been able to find a buyer, and there's been a tremendous amount of price changes and reductions that has happened in this 20 months. It went down to 1.8, 1.7, 1.5, 1.35, 1.275, 1.15, and now currently it's just under $1.1 million. Now again, I know a lot of people can't afford $1 million home, but let's roll the clock backwards a little bit. At the peak of the real estate market about 20 months ago, this home was listed at $1.85 million, and they've not been able to find a buyer because, again, prices were massively overinflated even at that time. And this home has come down nearly $800,000 since the peak of the real estate market. Again, I know it's $1 million home, but these kinds of price reductions are happening all across the Las Vegas Valley. So when people tell me that there's very low inventory and you can't find a home, not only are there a lot of homes still for sale in the Las Vegas area, there's a lot of price reductions going on, and for a very specific reason, because a lot of them are still massively overpriced, but prices are coming down. All right, so let's take a look at this third example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Now we're coming down a little bit more in price. You can see over on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at $769,000, but just above it in that small red text, it says price cut $66,000. Now, this is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot brand new home from the home builder. But more importantly, I want to show you a little bit more details of this price reduction a little bit lower down in the price chart history. All right, so let's look at the price history down here in the bottom left that I highlighted in blue. That date right in the bottom left says 10/31/2023. So that was Halloween of this past year. The home builders listed this home for sale at $835,000. But just above it, you can see the date right there, 11/10/23. So not even 2 weeks later, they did a very quick price reduction, which was pretty large, $66,000. They went from $835,000 down to $769,000. So this just goes to show you, again, a lot of the home builders, a lot of the sellers, they have been overpriced to begin with. That's why these price reductions continue to happen. And I foresee that happening more so as we go through the rest of this year. All right, so let's look at this fourth and final example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Now we're definitely getting down closer to the average price point, which in Las Vegas, the median home price is right around $450,000. So you can see on the lower left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at $500,000. They did a price cut in the middle of November. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost 2,000 square foot home, but I want to show you down in the price chart history down below the roller coaster ride that's been going on with this particular home's price. All right, so let's look at the price history of this particular home. Take a look down here in the bottom left where I highlighted this in blue. That date right there says 6/9/2023. So last summer, this home sold for $480,000. Now, if you look just above it, it says 7/21/2023. So a little bit over a month later, the sellers decided to list the home for sale for $565,000 and try to make a quick $85,000 profit. There were no buyers, and then it went through a series of price reductions. It went down to $550,000, $535,000, $525,000, $515,000. They had a deal potentially at $500,000, but obviously it fell through, and it's been listed again at $500,000. And even Zillow, if we scroll all the way up here, Zillow still thinks it's overestimated at $500,000 because they have it right there at $484,000. Now, again, there's a reason why I want to show you guys this particular home example, because this is close to the average price point here in Las Vegas. And last summer, the home sold for $480,000. They tried to make an $85,000 profit by raising the price up to $565,000. There's been no takers, and now it's come back down to $480,000 in terms of an estimated range value. So again, the reason why I'm showing you this example is because a lot of these sellers are still very greedy. They're trying to make a quick profit. It's very understandable. Everybody wants to make money. But as a buyer, on the buy side of it, you got to be careful because a lot of these sellers are still overpricing a lot of the homes here in the Las Vegas Valley, and these prices continue to come down. And again, I foresee more of these price reductions happening as we go through the rest of this year. So it's pretty obvious that the country and millions of people within the country have a massive debt problem. But here's how I see this all playing out. I believe commercial real estate is going to be the spark to the economic fire. When that happens, ultimately, there's going to be more bank failures, job layoffs, and more debt defaults. When that happens, mortgage lending is going to become more difficult, which means ultimately less buyers qualify, more inventory comes to market, and ultimately we see lower home prices. Now, a lot of people are not aware of this situation or paying attention to it, so that's why I'm cautioning you guys to be patient if you're thinking about buying a home. This may take some time to play out, but I believe home prices are definitely headed down once we enter this economic phase. So before we end today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite comment from last week's video, and that goes to Custom Tour Adventures. I'm going to put the comment up here on full screen and read it to you guys. This is pretty shocking. Take a look at this. So this comment is from Custom Tour Adventures. I am a budgeter and track my expenses. In the last 2 years, my cost of living has gone up 35% from $3,000 to $4,050 a month, and I haven't bought anything new. Rent, food, taxes, insurance, heat, etc. I would need a $17,000 pay raise to keep up. I got a $2,000 pay raise. So that's a very sad situation that person's going through, yet it's becoming all too common. I want to hear from you guys. I want you to drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're frustrated about, whether or not it's your salary not going up nearly as high as inflation, whether or not you're frustrated over rent prices, home prices, car prices, insurance. Let me know what's bothering you. Let me know what's completely outrageous in terms of the cost going up in your life. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also hope you appreciate my transparency. Like I've said before, I'm always going to keep it 100% real on this channel regarding the overall real estate market, with specific emphasis here in the Las Vegas area. So again, guys, like I've been advocating in a lot of my previous videos, if you don't have to buy a high-ticket item right now like a home, don't do it. Be patient. Sit on the sidelines. I believe the economy is a ticking time bomb. When we hit that rough water that I think the economy is going to hit later this year, maybe even into 2025, I believe there's going to be a big change in the economy. There's going to be more job layoffs, and home prices are ultimately going to come down. Now, I know everybody's circumstances are different. Some people need to buy a home right now. Some people can wait things out. If you are thinking about buying a home, especially here in the Las Vegas area, when that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you guys in the next video.